after trying to go live for several attempts, I'm actually going live now. It's crazy. Man, I gotta get up early, man. Tomorrow I gotta go to the dentist. Too fake. The thumbnail was supposed to be, I might go back and change it, was computing power. And it was supposed to be a thumbnail of inside of a computer. And the computing power is your knowledge. The thing that you can compete with other people. Well, it was competing power, not computing, but competing power. I had computing. But yeah, I changed it to competing power instead of computing. Because my thing is ultimately this. When it comes down to a boss lady in the building, I just seen your live you posted earlier, right before I was trying to go on. I was actually setting up. I'm gonna go back and look at that. But the crazy part is, I don't know, YouTube is something going on this morning. But ultimately, competing, you gotta have the knowledge. And me and my friend was having a conversation, and pretty much my coworker. And I was telling him, I said, well, you know, you need to start investing in stock. But he wants to wait on his son because he's in his 50s. His son is about 20. His son is 23, and he just got a good job. You know, real smart young man. I know him from wrestling. I used to coach him over at one of the high schools he attended to. You know, I think he only did it for 1 year, and then he was up under my head, one of my head coaches from my high school, Columbia, and so it's like small world. I actually started working with the guy. We started having a conversation, and I was like, man, I know your son. So lo and behold, but end of the thing was he's trying to work with his son to create this type of wealth. And I told him, I said, man, you got to be able to do this on your own. And the number one thing I told him, I said, man, you always sending me these funny videos. I'm laughing. You sending me all this stuff about working on your cars, you know, because we was talking, like, this guy is heavy into fixing things, being a mechanic almost. And he fixed it, excuse me, he fixed his AC, no problem. He ended up, I think in 2 of his vehicles, 2 of his trucks needed AC repair, and he went through the whole thing and fixed it because his mechanic was playing around. He fixed his, what else he was doing? I mean, he been doing a lot of stuff. Like he has his own box truck, so he fixed his own box truck. You know, all the things from the door to checking the motor. Like, it saves him so much money. To the degree, he's always sending me these videos on handyman tips and stuff. We got some metal barrels, me and him, and we're supposed to be making burn barrels. It's called a smokeless burn barrel. Cruising is fun anytime. What's going on with you? Keep trying to get my wife to look at getting a cruise. It's not happening. She don't like boats, you know. And she just, the whole fear. I was thinking about taking a trip to Benemy, the little small island, to try to get her used to that small boat. Then probably can put on a big scale boat. But yeah, so with my friend, he was talking about doing this smokeless burn barrel. And the thing of it is, with the smokeless burn barrel, quite easy. Everybody coming in, appreciate you. If you hit that like button, thank you. But we always talking about handyman stuff, the little small stuff to do. But my thing, like I told him, if we can talk about this stuff, we can talk about fixing on cars and stuff, why can't you look at videos on finance? Just like yesterday, I looked at a video on the interest rate. Alonzo, the all-star advisor, Alonzo done changed his name so many times. But he sent me a couple of videos, and they were just talking about something. My wife said it was boring. She's like, well, I need to know about the the lowering and the raising of interest rates and how a loan officer makes money off these interest rates and this and that. And I said, because the same reason why we didn't buy one of the first houses we was going to get with 2 acres, because the loan officer was standing to make $10,000 off that deal, and I broke it up. Because my thing was, I found out for every 0.01 or 0.1 or 0.2 on the loan officer makes anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for those points. Sometimes it's like $1,000 per point, 0.1. So learning that lets me know when the loan officer is trying to get over on me for the loan, because they trying to make them a cut. And I'm like, I'm not having that. I'm not being, taken advantage of. So therefore, I want to learn the information. And that's what I told him. Just like yesterday, I was looking at a video early this morning, going to work, looking at the do's and the don'ts when owning a home. Why are people putting like outdoor kitchens in the north when your summers are short? Why are people building these playgrounds for these kids, the wooden playgrounds? Those things are expensive. My kids wanted one. I was like, no. I was like, I can build you one, but I'm not buying you one. Let alone one of those wooden playgrounds. They're starting at $2,500. That's for the smaller version. The bigger versions, you're talking about $4,000 to $6,000. They send a crew out. They act like this such big thing. All they do is get big boats, get big 4x4s, the posting for them, drill holes, put swings in them. There you go. Back in the day, you know what kids used to do? They used to swing from a tire. You take a rope, throw it in the tree, loop it, pull it tight, make sure the branch is sturdy, put a tire on the bottom end, and swing from a tire. Nowadays, they was like, man, why not we just make a big old playground and charge tons of money? I learned that about being pools. Pools are real nice, but the kids outgrow them. And then 2, it's expensive. Insurance goes up because what's associated with pools? Drowning. So that makes your insurance go up. If you have an out-of-ground pool, you don't tell them, okay, but if they find out, they take your insurance up. Because pools are deadly, You can't even tell you how many kids drown. And that was one of the other videos I looked at as well about nurses. Nurses at the ER, trauma centers, they all talk about watching your kids around the poolside. So many kids die at pools because everybody's so into their conversations, talking and playing around. They don't necessarily, worry about the kids until it's too late. So like I said, just a lot of those boring videos I watch. A lot of boring videos I watch. Because why? It's not because of me being entertained. It's for me getting the knowledge, And that's what we was talking. I said, man, if we can sit here and look at all these videos that help us, why not look at all these videos? Looking at make us entertained. Why not look at these videos that help us? And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people take the time and they be like, man, I can't do this. There's so many things. My son just the other day was complaining about making something. And I was like, look it up on YouTube. If you don't have the instructions, look it up. Look it up I make them look up everything on YouTube. Because when they want to do something bad or when they want to sneak around and do something, that's what they look up YouTube for. So why you can't look up YouTube for that? I remember my daughter, she was what? I think my daughter was 13. When I was looking at her browser history, she was learning how to kiss. I was like, oh, yeah, you're trying to be hot. And, she got mad at me because, I told her mom and her mom found out. But she was like, that's invasion of privacy. I was like, you're a child. You have no privacy. And, just stuff like that. Kids, when they want to do something and they don't know how to do it, they know how to look it up when it's convenient. So, like I told my son, look it up. When they made pancakes one time, I told them, look how to make pancakes. I'm not gonna tell you how to make pancakes. I'm not gonna tell you how to mix them. None of that. You look up the instructions. They got the ingredients. They made their pancakes. I told them, I said, you guys are so far behind. When I was your age, popcorn was going on. I told my kids when I was their age, I literally was cooking whole meals. And like I said, it just come to a point where, I don't know, YouTube done changed this channel activity. Man, I gotta find out how to make people moderators again. Because YouTube has changed their stuff to where I can't even click on your name and make you give you a wrench. It's crazy. But when it comes down to it though, like I said, I tell my kids they way behind. Oh, Johnny. But so many stuff, so many things that they're doing now, I've been did that. I was cooking whole meals when I was like 8 or 9 years old. But then it was because of my granny. She taught me how to cook all this type of stuff. Like with them, they want to do it when it's convenient. They don't want to learn how to cook right now. They want to learn how to cook when it's convenient, when they hungry. It's too late. You're going to burn something. My wife the other day, she said my son made rice and he burnt it. And I'm like, how? All you got to do is just instructions say that you bring the water to a boil, put the rice in, you stir it, and then you turn around and put your Maria, how you doing? Everybody hit that light coming in. And then you put water now. Once the water comes to a boil, what do? You reduce to a simmer. Once you reduce to a simmer, there you go. Like I said, it's just simple stuff like that where you can get this information from YouTube, you can get this information from people just simply. Like, prime example, and I've always said this on my channel, and a lot of people who've been on my channel a lot, they know. But my great-grandma, I mean, not my great-grandma, but my grandma, when she went to the hospital one time, and she was in the hospital for about a month and a half, I literally took it upon myself, got her purse, got her card, paid all the bills I can online, because a lot of them was coming into the second term to where, you know, if you have a bill, which you don't pay it in 2 months, they cut it off, all the utilities, light, water, gas. Sometimes, I don't know, because some places they have it to where it just go overboard. I know one of my friends, his water bill in Atlanta, I don't know about the cab, they'll cut you off, but in Atlanta, his water bill was $1,400. Like, his brother, them, they was staying with him, so they was supposed to pay the water bill, but they never paid. The water bill for him was probably like 60, 70 bucks. They was making so much money. I'm like, how could they have not paid the water bill? And the thing of it was, hey, they never cut it off to that amount. But like I said, I literally took it upon myself, got the bills, made an online account, and I paid all those bills. How did I learn how to do that? I mean, it's simple. If you just look at the bill, read it, it tells you pay online. Go to the website, which I had a computer at the time. Tamika was going on, and I paid the bill. Stuff like that, I didn't need to get taught. It was just like simple math, you know. And then when it came down to it, you know, it's just like stuff that I needed to be taught on. What I do, I went out there and sought the knowledge. That's where a lot of people mess up at. Living Out Loud, the podcast. But my thing was, I went and sought the knowledge to go try to find out how to make myself better and do stuff. That's the thing. Like I said, we can be entertained and there's nothing wrong with being entertained online, but it's going to come to a point where the knowledge is going to be needed, you know, for survival. One of my friends just told me, and he said they try not to make it a panic, but right now the port's about to get ready to close. And you know what happens when the port closes? Resources. Resources are not being delivered. So you know what happened when the resources? Because they're closing because the ports are going on strike about the AI. And this is not heavy talked about, but because truck drivers, they know. They talk to the people and they know what's going on. So my advice to everybody, start buying stuff little at a time that you can afford and start stockpiling a little bit. Because for one, we're going through a presidential election right now. The ports closed. The government's trying to shut down. All this stuff will have a domino effect. You know, non-perishable things. Stock up on that. About to get my garden ripped up so I can start growing my stuff just in case. Have some fresh stuff that I can grab and freeze. But the crazy part is, like I said, is they're not going to talk about this stuff. They don't want a panic attack. You know, our media is so saturated and watered down with all the craziness. We looking at the issue with Puffy. We just not going to act like Epstein had a whole island doing worse than what Puffy was doing. Talking about, oh, Puffy and the baby oil. Personally, this is my opinion, and people gonna have their gripe with me about this. The crazy part is, whatever Puffy was doing at that house, if it was consensual, that's his business. Now, all that other stuff, they said that they were, you know, giving people stuff or making them too drunk and all that. Now, that's wrong. You don't force nobody against their will. But all the other stuff that most of the people are consensually doing, and now they're going to cry victim because it's a time to get money out of it. All those women who came out with the R. Kelly thing recanting their stuff now. Look up the charges of what R. Kelly was really charged with. A lot of that stuff, like I said, I'm not taking up for none of them because wrong is wrong and right is right. But a lot of that stuff that them folks was claiming that them guys were doing, a lot of them was a prime example. The one guy I seen on the R. Kelly trial, the father of one of those girls, when they asked him how your daughter was able to go with him a second time and this and that, knowing all the stuff about the lead stuff when he peed on a 15-year-old girl, you know what that man did? He looked straight at his wife. He couldn't say nothing. Because he was working. He said he was a truck driver. He was always on the road. His wife was handling most of the stuff and everything. So, like, who's at fault? Like I said, going back into it, the knowledge, man. We're not paying attention to the knowledge. A lot of us are not really looking into the knowledge on what's going on with a lot of this stuff. Like I said, buying a house. Me and my friend, we had a debate about that. I told him, the best time to buy a house is now. Interest rates are high? Yes. But are the prices of the houses going down? When have you known for the prices of houses go down dramatically? Now, there are some people that houses are going down dramatically now, but you got to understand, that's due to the inflated prices on these houses. Now these houses, they're starting to see, I can't sell these houses for this price. For one, nobody can afford that price. Only people can afford those prices are who? Investors. Investors are starting to slow down on the houses because if they push that capital gains tax that they're talking about pushing, you know, that's going to be the big issue right there, because that capital gains tax is going to affect most of the rich. I looked at it, and Kamala's getting a bad shoot about that, which I looked into, and come to find out, the capital gains tax is supposed to be for $100 million. So people have $100 million in investments, like people like Grant Cardone, these big people. Yeah, they're going to pay that capital gains tax on that. And that's for corporations, because Grant not going to pay anything. Grant don't have anything in his name. You know? And that's the thing where a lot of us, we're not even knowing the knowledge. Don't you know, I've been learning this for the past couple of years now. Every successful rich person owns their own business, whether it be they work for a company or they're just strictly entrepreneurship, they own their own business. I can't tell you how many times every year I get clients that I deliver to that only orders once or twice a year. Because why? You need this product so when you claim on your taxes that they see the mail out information, they see the boxes that you order. You could say, well, most of these people come to my house or I home deliver because they're local people. No matter what, as long as the IRS sees these information, because trust me, they're gonna check. I looked at a documentary. Don't you know IRS agents are so crucial? Now this is another boring documentary. This IRS agent did a audit on the laundromat. The laundromat said they only made about I think it was like 90,000 or 80,000. They took a loss or whatever. Don't you know? No, I think it was less than that. I think it was like 50 or 60,000. The IRS agent, this is how petty they are. This lady took the washing machine, looked online, seen about how much water does it take per wash, and looked at the guy's water bill and was able to calculate how much water consumption that this guy uses a month to determine how much money he actually really made. This guy made over $100,000 by just doing the water calculation alone, because it's not like he said, well, I have a car wash outside that uses a lot of water. You know, you're strictly using this for nothing but washing clothes and drying them. So the power bill, you have your lights on all day. You can't really determine that. You have TVs, you have vending machines, you have fans, ACs going. You can't really determine on the power bill. But there's one thing that they determined was the water bill, because the only time you really use the water is for washing. Occasionally bathrooms and stuff, which I'm quite sure they took account in for that. But still, like, that's how detailed a lot of the agents are. You know, the crazy part, I used to work intertwines with the IRS, and that's like their thing, to just sit back and look at the details before they audit you. They look at the imperfections, they look at the things that are not right, and if they see a pattern with it, that's when they come with the audit. So it's crazy how it's going on and how it happens, but until it's just like so many situations to where if you're not paying attention, you're not learning this stuff, and people get over on you left and right. Like I said, now we're looking at another house, looking to get a HELOC out of my house to move farther out of the city into the country. I want more land. So, you know, doing the research that I can take money out of my home, out of my equity with a HELOC, and then be able to, you know, buy another house comfortably with no problem. And, you know, just learning this information. I'm telling you, because, like, my whole thing is I want to get duplexes. I want to start getting into real estate. I mean, I'm into getting into stocks now. Like, sometimes too much can be overbearing, but the thing is, once you have the knowledge and you understand things, it's hard for you to go back, because you see the potential in yourself. You just got to push yourself even more. That's even like my job. I'm about to get ready to quit my job, like find something else to do. I'm relatively getting bored with it, and you know, they starting to micromanage and want more for less. And I'm not doing that. I mean, this is one of the easiest jobs I've had in a minute. Well, pretty much the last two jobs I had, maybe three, have been pretty easy. You know, not really too much challenging and none of that. You know, the managers were cool, but you know, when they start making more money, they want to put more pressure on the workers to do better. So I just go to somewhere else. You know, I was just recently looking at this thing where they were saying that most people should quit their job every 2 years because it keeps up with the inflation on the pay rate. A lot of jobs don't like paying out raises. So if you find a job like every 2 years, you're always going to be at the top tier of pay. Sounds like they do make sense because most jobs try to, you know, pay comfortably, especially for a good employee. And if your last job paid this, they'll pay either close to that, and you know, getting raises is easier to, you know, maintain. So I'm looking into that. But at the same time, it's like I said, just literally crazy how we can sit here and be entertained a lot, but you won't take the time out to find out a little bit of knowledge about things. And that's like the biggest information that I always try to tell people, man. Just getting some knowledge, man, it goes a long way, you know. So when it comes down to it, it's like a lot of people just, you know, when we get into situations, you know, we don't know what to do, look it up. Like I say, I tell my kids all the time, look it up. Look up the information. Look up the information, because that's what's, you know, the difference. When a lot of kids, they're growing up, like I told you, my daughter was looking up how to kiss when she was 13. They look up stuff when they want to look it up. They all they want to do is just, you know, do what they want to do when they want to do it. But they crippled to stuff that they got to go out here and do the work for. My sons, all the time, I tell them, I say, man, I didn't have no computer when I was young. I had to go in that book, learn the examples on how to do the problems. I got a math book for middle school and high school. For every math equation that you need to learn how to do, it tells you in that book. They literally have YouTube for every math that they want to, you know, give an example and somebody break it down is in there. You literally can implement the problem into YouTube. I'm sorry, into Google, and Google will give you the answer. And then you can say, show your work, and Google will show you how they got to that problem. So it's not like kids are crippled right now. They have too much technology to where it's easier for them to do things. But my whole issue is, with all this technology, what are you doing with it? But when it comes down to it, man, just saying the least, man, it's like I said, it's just crazy. We got to focus more on, like, the time that we have just learning stuff, man. Because I told you, like, my friends that drive trucks, they was telling me about the port. So, like I said, buy a little bit at a time. Because once the news hit, it's going to be a run on the stores. Everybody's going in there. They grabbing stuff. They gonna be going crazy. That's what I told my wife. I said, I'm gonna get these food-proof bales. I'm gonna get them. Buckets. Put the food in there. Put the little dissolvers in there for the moisture. Put that in there. Get beans, rice, stuff like that. non-perishables, because beans and rice all day. Big bags of flour. I can make my own flour. Salsa. Stock up on that salsa. Chips, stuff like that. I can make my own chips with the if I get corn flour. But like I said, just in general, man, when it come down to it, you got to be in the know, listening, getting the knowledge, because it helps. About to get ready to jump off of here, but like I said, it comes down to a lot of people, man. We stay being entertained, and there's nothing wrong with being entertained, but like I said, just getting some of the knowledge. That's like the biggest thing that a lot of people are missing out on. We can listen to celebrity gossip all the time, but we don't even know about our interest rate. We don't know about our loans. We don't know why we're paying so much money for this. Prime example, I was listening to another video, a loan officer. He was expressing why this lady went from a $2,500 mortgage every month to a $7,200 mortgage every month. And there was a lot of benefit. She had an adjustable rate. That was one. It wasn't fixed. So they give you that for 3-4 years, and then you come back and try to see if the interest rate lowered to where you can get a better deal. And if it's high, you got to get that high interest rate. So for all the people got an adjustable rate, which they try to not let you get that because it was kind of outlawed to a degree. And I say to a degree because if you want it, they're not going to shy away from giving it to you. But at the same time, it's kind of predatory. That's why the people that were doing that back in the day, it was predatory because, it was good at first, but then when the rate goes up, you can't afford it. You got to move. So, a lot of people just didn't even try to move. They just lost their home. They just let it go into foreclosure because they couldn't pay it. So, it was literally crazy. So, like I said, they'll give you an adjustable rate if you want one, but it's not practice to try to give out because when that new rate comes in, it might be higher. 10 times out of 10, it's not that low, if anything. But you still got to pay it. So a lot of people, kind of get sideswiped about that. But when it comes down to it, man, like I say the least, all depends. Yep. I gotta hit it today because, when it comes down to it, man, like I said, it's just a lot of situations. A lot of people are not focused on it. You're not taking the necessary time to, like I said, invest in knowledge. So you're going to be behind, man. Like, I keep trying to push this on my kids. Like I told my sons, I said, if I had the parents that you had, the learning curve would be easy. Me and my coworker, we always talk about this all the time. Only thing his father wanted him to do was go to college. Didn't know what major to pick. Just wanted him to go to college. So he ended up picking communication, which was a good profession. But he ended up driving trucks. Went into the field of trucking. A lot of people I know went to college for one thing, but are doing something else. There's one guy, he went to school and he was an engineer. Another guy went to law school, practicing to be a lawyer, take the bar. He ended up being a truck driver. But he could articulate arguments real well and pinpoint precise things that he, can use to win his arguments. And he was saying that he went to school to be a lawyer. After a while, after all the stuff that he was learning, the craziness about the crimes, even though, if somebody is guilty as a defense attorney, you still have to proceed with all the guilty stuff in front of you. Just thought it'd be too much. He could have been a prosecutor, but then he didn't want to make the mistake of his job is to force them to put somebody in jail with the evidence that he have And even if he don't have the evidence, it's within his best interest to make it up just to get the conviction. So he ended up just saying, let's drop out of this and become a truck driver. Stuff like that. You know? And so, like I said, it was just crazy how we were talking, and I was telling them, I said, man, these kids nowadays, man, they don't understand. Like, we're trying to teach them something that they can be ahead of most kids. That's like I told you, when I got out of high school and was about to go to college, and I didn't go to college and start working, I was ahead of everybody. Everybody. There was literally nobody who graduated within my year that I probably wasn't ahead of, even though they went to college. I was making more money than most when they got out of college. I was making more money while they were in college. And it was literally so many things that I was doing to better myself. But when it comes down to it, like I say, needless to say, you gotta have that knowledge. You gotta start studying. You gotta be able to pass this on to your kids. You gotta be able to pass this on to the future generations. Because that's the biggest thing, that learning curve where a lot of the kids are falling back in, because nobody's there to teach them this stuff. Nobody's there to teach them this stuff. So it's a lack of knowledge. But I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Shout out to everybody that came in. Once again, you know what I always say when I jump off here? We here